Hello YouTube. I've been away for a couple of weeks. Just been very distracted. I'm still going to be making videos. I've just been pretty busy lately. I'd like to do another video on symbolism. Not every video I do is going to be on symbolism, but I just go with whatever feels right. And I kind of felt like going into symbolism again. This time, going into commercialism. How ads are used to manipulate people into buying their products. Some people might think, oh, what's the big deal about symbolism? How does it really impact? Well, I'm going to give you an example of how psychological it gets. First of all, I just want to say I'm not going to be taking it to the extreme of Michael Tessarian and David Icke, going into the whole reptilian theory. I don't buy that. I'm very open-minded, but I just don't believe in that at this point. It's pretty out there. You need a lot of evidence for that. There's not a lot of evidence to really prove that theory. It's pretty out there even for me. So I'm not into that. And symbolism is not evil. It's what it's used for. And by the way, very little symbolism is actually a cult, because a cult means hidden. And there's very little symbolism that I ever come across that I can't find what it means, you know, what it's intended to mean. So that's really inaccurate as well. Okay, let me give you an example now of the importance of symbolism, how it can be used to manipulate people. Okay, a white car pulls up by a large house, and a woman walks out of the car dressed all in white, closes the white door to her white car. Now, in this case, what does white represent? No one symbol represents any one thing. In this case, she looks a little empty, like there's something missing, but you don't know what it is. So, in this case, whiteness represents emptiness. There's a lack of color, a lack of substance. So she enters her large white house, walks inside, all the walls are white, the floors and the tables are even light colored. She puts her white purse down, closes the white door, walks into her home, turns around and looks, and there's kind of a little smile on her face. She's kind of satisfied. The place is all neat and tidy, just how she wants it. But it's so empty, it's so large and barren, and it's so white, so lacking in color. So you see that anyone who's feeling empty, by watching this commercial, they get it, they feel it, you know, it's like, oh, it's just like me. And they may not even get it on a conscious level. Again, this is on the subconscious level. You may only be half watching the commercial, but on the subconscious level you can get it. You can find yourself feeling sad and not even know why. See, this stuff is powerful, I'm telling you. I went into a lot of that in my first video on symbolism, which I strongly recommend you watch if you haven't watched it before watching this one. Okay, so anyway, so yes, she's empty. And all of a sudden there's a knock at the door. Knock, knock, knock. She walks over, and a little man in black steps out. Why I wore a black shirt in my first video, by the way, I don't know if anyone got it, but blackness represents the unconsciousness, and a person in black represents a voice from the unconsciousness, speaking some kind of truth. Whatever the intention of that truth may be, whether the truth is being slanted, that depends, but it represents a voice coming up from the unconscious self. So he walks up and he says, oh, what you need is, it doesn't matter what, Joey Joe's bubblegum. You know, it doesn't matter. Oh, Joey Joe's bubblegum. She eats it and she goes, you know, and all of a sudden all her walls turn into all these bright, shiny colors, and they start dancing around. And all these people in these silly animal costumes come in, and they're all dancing around. You think, oh, it's just a really dumb, silly commercial. Someone suggested that there was real meaning in that. They laugh and say, oh, you're crazy. That commercial, you think that has any meaning to it? That's just silly. You know, humor is a great way that they can hide behind the seriousness of what they do. If you paid attention to what I just described to you, that was a serious psychological scheme. There was nothing light about that. That was very intentional, very ruthless, very ruthless. You know, that's what they do. They go for your weaknesses, and they exploit them, and they try to make you feel like you need their product to get what you're lacking. So in that case, they're trying to make you see their bubblegum is something that you need to be happy, whatever it may actually be. Maybe you broke up with your partner and you need love again. You know, maybe you need a job. Maybe you need, maybe you just retired and you need something else to do with your life. Whatever it might be, you're feeling empty, and this gum comes to symbolize it. So It sounds so silly, but it's very serious, it's very psychological, and they screw with your head. There's nothing about that that's light or morally acceptable. It's not. And even if you don't go out and buy the gum, they've messed with your head. And you need to understand that. That's very important. Symbolism is powerful. Okay, now, I'm going to show you some examples of some commercials visually. Okay, I've already explained the light. You know, the sun represents illumination, represents one who is illuminated, clear in understanding, which is a positive symbol, or that it comes from some kind of divine origin or something like that. Again, these things don't mean any one thing necessarily. Okay, the eye, the all-seeing eye, you know, represents the inner eye, the third eye. It can also represent looking at things from one perspective. Of course, these days it represents big brothers watching you. So it's come to represent a symbol, to be a symbol of authority. But then there's the serpent, and the serpent represents reincarnation because it sheds its skin. It goes underground, it burrows into the ground, and it hides away, so it can represent the underworld or a link to the underworld. It also represents primordial energy and consciousness. There's what's called the reptilian brain, which is a part of your brain that reacts automatically, that you don't have any conscious control over. And oh boy, do these people, do these manipulators know about that, and they try to use that. And they do that on a regular basis. Let me show you. Here we go. Here's your conscious eye and your unconscious eye, the reptilian brain. Give me. Yeah, it just wants. That's what Freud called the id. And that's what they want. That's the consumer that they try to reach. What the hell, you might think, does a serpent have to do with U.S. soccer? No, just read below it. Don't tread on me. So what does that represent? That's talking to your instinctual self, right? Your primordial, instinctive, cruder nature. It doesn't want you to think. It wants you to be an animal. Yeah. Hello there. We all should recognize the gecko from Geico. And here we go again. The consumer, right? The id. That's what they want. Encouraging the crude side of human nature. And you'll even see it in buildings, you know, structures. And yeah, I mean, what does it have to do with contact lenses, really? Cobra from G.I. Joe. What the hell, you might think? And this is a serpent giving birth to a child, often mistaken for consuming a child. It comes out of the mouth because if it came out of the tail, it would look stupid. So, yeah, again, the primordial energy, the ancient origins of humanity and bloodline as well. You see the crown on his head, that represents a royal kind of background bloodline. And the child being born from the serpent. Very important distinction. It's a famous picture of a elitist backyard and where a man appears to be consumed by a serpent, but I think he's actually coming out of the serpent. So it's misconstrued as something evil that I don't think it is. So it's important to get these things straight. Godzilla, of course. A symbol for aggression, for evil again. And how that is exaggerated. Now, Madonna here, the dragon is exaggeration, really dark, aggressive exaggeration of the, you know, the more predatorial side of the serpent. And then you have the illuminated sun behind her. She's illuminated. See? And here she is, Madonna again. A lot of these big pop stars and actors, and well, they have this, you know, this symbolism that they love to play with, to let you know that they're in the know. And that's the pyramid of power with the all-seeing eye. George Lucas, what are you doing, man? Looks more like a Sith here than a Jedi using this symbolism. You know, the all-seeing eye, you see it? His head becomes the pupil. Pyramid of power, that's Adobe. Chrysler, and then a symbol for peace. So it's all over the place. Anyway, I'll be going into this more in the future.